We have an update now on one of the more horrific photos from the Boston Marathon attack. Jeff Ballman Sr., that's the dad of the man in that photo, has written the following message on his Facebook page saying, "Thank you for all of your thoughts and prayers. They did help greatly. Unfortunately, my son was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. He had to have both lower limbs removed due to the extensive vascular and bone damage." Now, officials believe that the explosive charge in the pressure cooker bomb could propel shrapnel, including ball bearings and BBs, at speeds up to 3,300 feet per second. That's more than 3 times the speed of a 9mm round fired from a pistol. Joining me now is one of the men who's helped treat the victims of these attacks. He's Dr. Alistair Khan, Chief of Emergency Services at Massachusetts General Hospital. Doctor, it's good to have you with me, and I first want to talk to you about what I understand is that a member of your staff has experience in war zones, such as Afghanistan and Iraq. Is that correct?
That's correct. One of our trauma surgeons has served in the military, or continues to serve in the military, and has served in both Iraq and Afghanistan.
And Dr. Khan, how did they respond to seeing these injuries? These look like war injuries, war wounds.
They were, and they are. All of the trauma service, we were oriented to these types of injuries, but obviously this one individual who has served was much more familiar. He'd seen this many, many times, and he, again with our colleagues, helped in taking a lot of these patients to the operating theater.
Dr. Khan, talk about the shrapnel, the types of shrapnel that you and your colleagues have found in these patients.
I was amazed when I first saw the x-rays and the CAT scans of the patients that came in, how many very small ball bearings we were seeing in these wounds. And we immediately thought, well, probably these were included in whatever device that had exploded in Copley Square. This was confirmed at surgery. Also, small portions of metal, a bit like nails with the head cut off, were also removed and obviously given immediately to the FBI and the appropriate authorities for investigation.
Dr. Khan, at your news conference this morning, you discussed some of the amputations. 4 had been performed at that time. Have you performed more? And is there potential that some of the other patients might lose a limb?
We hope not. The majority of the severe injuries were in the lower extremities. One of the patients did require vascular reconstruction, if you like, repairing the blood vessels of the lower extremity. We're hopeful that that patient will be able to retain their lower limb. And the other patients, the more severely ill ones, have suffered devastating injuries, but we're hopeful that none of these other patients, other than the 4 who've already had amputations, will require amputation. We're hopeful we'll be able to save all of these limbs.
Doctor, were you surprised by how effectively you've been able to help these people, the people that were so injured, and to make sure that there wasn't a larger loss of life, especially when you talk about the lower extremity injuries and the fact that just nicking an artery could cause someone to bleed out?
Yes, it's surprisingly only 3 patients succumbed during this event. We're very fortunate in Boston that we have several level 1 trauma centers, and the Boston EMS crews did a fabulous job so that not all of the severely injured patients were taken to one hospital. That makes no sense. So to a certain extent, no one hospital was overloaded. We were able to send 5 critical patients very soon after arrival to the emergency department up to the operating room. We had 5 operating teams immediately. We'd obviously stopped elective surgery to prepare for these patients. And that distribution of these severely injured patients amongst several hospitals, I think, made a difference. I would also say that the blood pressure of one particular patient on arrival was very low, and the response time from the scene to arriving to us and then in the operating room was extremely fast. And if it had been delayed a little bit longer, I wonder if we wouldn't have seen more people pass away.
Dr. Alistair Khan, we thank you and for all of your colleagues and the work that you've been doing there in Boston. Thank you, sir. We're going to be back with more after this.
Thank you.